He was yelling though. He's not gonna yell that loud. I assume.
What's up, guys? Welcome to episode 15 of the Coffee Club. Happy New Year's to everyone. We hope that you had a wonderful and a Merry Christmas. We hope that you enjoyed our Christmas special last time. As a bit of a carry-on from that, we're sponsored by Mountain Dew today still. George and I have not.
You guys have let me down. That's what I'm going to say. I thought you guys would at least attempt by now, because this is obviously my idea of.
If you didn't listen to the last one, Ollie told us that if we could finish these bottles of Mountain Dew, he would donate $100 to breast cancer.
But he did give us 6 months / a year.
He gave us a few months to do it.
So
and he's already disappointed. It was yesterday.
we don't want to get out the gates too hot. So we're taking it easy still.
Ladies and gentlemen, if this was me, it'd be done.
I'm more impressed that you haven't cracked into our.
I was tempted today. I was sitting on the table, and the only reason why I didn't drink them is because I want to raise some money for breast cancer. Yeah, so bloody drink the drink, bros.
All right, we're working on it.
But I've decided that I'm actually just going to donate $100 of my own money to breast cancer.
People, if you believe that Geordie should do that, then you shouldn't listen to this pod. That's not good for the sport.
Either way,
comment and enforce Geordie to drink this Mountain Dew. That's what I want people. I want people to rally in the streets.
Either way, breast cancer will be getting $100, and I won't be giving myself breast cancer from drinking that stuff.
You'll get like colon cancer or something.
They might sue us for that, you know.
Yeah.
I said, yeah, fuck.
he smokes a lot. It's fine. Geordie smokes a lot.
Who knows why he's getting this cancer? But yeah, that was the Christmas special, and today we're doing another fun special, the New Year's special. So happy New Year's Eve to everyone, or happy New Year's.
Happy New Year.
Yeah, if you're listening to it after that. But
true. What
we're gonna do today is we're gonna do a little 2021 year review. And boy, do we have a lot to talk about.
I'm still getting over 2020. And now we're in 2021.
We were trying to decide a couple of days ago what year was. I don't know why we were talking about what year was worse.
No, I was.
But that's the worst way of looking at the last 2 years.
I think no. The reason we were talking about it is because I said, do you guys remember how 1 year ago everyone was saying like, thank God 2020 is over?
But no one's saying thank God 2021's over.
So clearly 2020 was worse, I guess.
Well, people are like worried to say that, because then 2021's still.
I feel like it was the start of everything going to shit, and then 2021 everyone just got used to it.
Yeah, I think that's a good way of putting it. And people are just used to the shit now.
Yeah.
Or they've found ways to enjoy the shit, I guess. I don't know. But so we're going to go through our year review. We're going to look at the sport. We're going to look at OAC specifically, and we're going to look at personal level.
Personal year in review. So, always excited for that one.
Yeah, we'll just jump into it. We'll start off with Ollie/Gus, because I think that's probably the most exciting. So Ollie has a bunch of highlights of the year. First one was running 3:32 in February, breaking the indoor Australian record and essentially qualifying you for the Olympics. I mean, you probably would have. I think you would have qualified off that time no matter what. It wasn't that clear from that. But after that race, you bought Gus like a week later, right?
Yeah. Well,
right at the end of training. It might have been a few weeks later.
It was. Yeah, I didn't secure him. Like, I saw him, and then I put a deposit down. I didn't secure him until like the last few days of camp.
Remember when you were thinking of buying a Sharpay?
Yeah. Sharpay would have been sick.
What?
Yeah.
I can't imagine that.
Sharpay would have, but the problem is they're very aggressive to people that don't know.
Really?
I think
are they really?
That's what I read. They're like guard dogs.
That's cool. But yeah, so Gus coming into our lives is also a big highlight for 2021. And we were going to track how much do you think Gus has cost you in 2021?
Just not his price itself, but exceeding that. I've done the numbers. It's about 4,000.
It's only 4,000. I reckon it must be more than that.
No, it's 4,000.
Before we even left the Airbnb in Phoenix, he cost you like 500, right?
250.
Wait, because you split it with Dathan?
No, Dathan had to split it because of Chandler.
Fair enough. So, 250.
And if you can hear that, ladies and gentlemen, that's Gus running around.
I've never seen him have this much energy before. All right, so we were trying to work out how much Gus has cost Ollie beyond his initial price, and what are we coming up with?
Crunching the numbers, I got to $4,000 from what I know.
$4,000, and that's $4,000 worth of
damages.
It's
got to be. I honestly think it's got to be more than that.
That's not what it costs. So let's break it down. $250
before we even got back to Colorado.
Yeah, $250.
That was a deposit because we broke
the Airbnb like extra things. There was a couple of them because we weren't supposed to have a pet.
No animals, and he peed everywhere.
Nice.
And then the
plane, you had to rebook your plane tickets. So you could bring him back here.
I think he costs. Actually, okay, so now he's probably 4,200.
Mm-hmm.
And then
you had to pay
toe spaces.
No, we're not there yet. You had to pay the first month you lived here again. You had to pay double rent.
Oh yeah.
You
weren't allowed to. So when Ollie bought Gus, we were living in an apartment in Boulder together, which was strictly no dogs. So he had to live at Clecker's place, and that was an extra $1,000.
Oh yes, that's 5,200. 1,000, and then
the rest of it is stuff.
The rest of it is damages at
this
house.
Stuff that he's eaten of ours, which
mostly
includes a few toe spaces, a lot of AirPods, Morgan's phone, glasses, George's new wallet that he bought in Europe.
Yeah.
And that is all expensive. Like, none of that stuff is cheap except maybe the toe spaces.
Well, it's lucky that the $300 pair of sunglasses were free.
Yeah.
A couple of pairs of those.
Yeah.
My dresser is broken.
He's pretty good like that. Damn, that adds up real quick.
Yeah.
Damn.
He's about to... the costs of... Oh, no, actually, Song's going to take him, so you're right.
Yeah.
That could have been a lot if you had to get a Rover for going to Florida.
Yeah. So that's the Gus 2020 something.
The Gus Telly.
Which we still love him despite that, but that's a lot of money.
Hopefully that's a PR for Gus in 2022.
I think he's gotten better.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I mean, literally, you got a new phone. You broke your phone, 2 weeks ago?
Yeah, it wasn't that long ago, I guess.
He's a year old now, so he's old and wise.
Wise.
Old is one. Wise is
1/7 of his life down.
He's old and the same.
Yeah, so
we'll see how he goes in 2022.
Yeah,
I'll keep the tally cost.
Gus, that's Gus's
updates.
Which obviously that's a really big part of 21 for specifically Ollie, but us as well. The other things we put down for Ollie were making the Olympic final, the Diamond League final. Pretty much every time you raced this year was. What was your worst race of the year? Did you have
final?
Yeah, I guess.
No, it was my worst. Even time. It was my worst race.
Really?
3:35, 11th, the Olympic final. It was my worst race.
3:35 was your slowest time of the year?
Gated was slower, but the conditions were worth like 4 seconds probably. Yeah.
That's ridiculous.
36,
so those were your 2 slowest times of the year, and you ran like 10, 1500s, 12? A lot.
10 or 12, yeah.
That's crazy.
So, big year for
one of the semi-final, the heat was 3:36, I think.
I thought it was 3:34 because I qualified for Worlds off it.
I think one of them was...
my heat was 3:36, my first round. That race was harder, though.
Either way,
that race was ridiculous.
That's ridiculous.
It is ridiculous. So, if you train consistently, apparently you can race consistently.
Yeah, always pretty good at that.
Pretty simple formula.
Yeah.
Mountain Dew.
A lot of Mountain Dew.
And you have a good diet. Don't forget a good diet as well.
Good diet, eat your greens.
Yeah.
Your greens. There's a lot of greens right there.
You get a lot of nutrients in them. And then we also put down you got a Tesla this year as one of your highlights.
Yeah. I got a car. That was nice.
Yeah.
I feel like... When did you get your car?
I got mine in 2020, like a long time ago.
Yeah. It was nice though when you have like a mode of transport that you can do.
It is nice. It's not a Tesla.
Regardless of how nice.
It's not a Razor scooter, but like it's alright.
But regardless of how nice or like shitty the car is, I feel like that having your own car is a really cool thing. So that was fun.
Yeah, especially being able to buy it for yourself. That is pretty cool. And then the other thing we're going to talk about for Ollie is his
love life.
His love life. His year in review for Ollie's love life.
He's ending 2021 on a high though. Ending at the top, I feel like. Say.
But did we?
So that's a big achievement.
How many girlfriends did he have this year?
I think only
2.
2.
Like 2 official, I think.
2 official. That's a good way of putting it.
Yeah, a few in between them.
Unofficially.
A few unofficial visits.
They're not recruits, man.
But yeah, Ollie had
ending in a good place.
This is another thing. I think every year of your life is probably very exciting love-wise.
A lot of activity.
Yeah, there's always a lot of stuff going on. So, but this was another great year in the chapter. Like when you tell your grandkids about your love life, you're gonna have a lot of stories to tell from this year, I would imagine.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
So
I mean,
that's good. That's good to know. That's how I like to live my life.
Hey,
I'm
trying. I'm
trying. You like to
sometimes
just have stories.
Sometimes some things don't work out, which is the life.
Yeah.
But I'm trying.
Did great.
And I'm trying to do better.
Yeah.
And then I'm in a good spot. George is right. I'm in a pretty nice place right now.
Yeah. And these next two, I like for the three of us, and even more than just the three of us. I'll say them now. For Ollie, one is we moved in together. That's a big for just all of us in general. That was a big 20.
Well, I feel like particularly with, I mean, obviously I was seeing George every day, but I wasn't like spending time with him other than with running. So this was the first time that we were all together. Carlos, Morgan, George.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't.
Steiner.
Yeah, I barely spent time with them before we moved in. And then the other one is starting the podcast, which is probably for everyone listening. That's probably like the biggest thing that happened in your year for 2021. I would imagine is the
day you started listening.
Yeah,
to the Coffee Club.
Coffee Club pod. But anything else from your year in review, Ollie?
For me personally,
yeah, pretty crazy year. It's gonna go down in the history books.
Pretty wild year. I did quarantine.
You didn't.
That was last.
Was that last year?
Yeah.
All right, it has been a crazy year. I thought that was one of the things that happened. Yeah, I guess that's pretty much it. I think the one thing that I would say that the crazy thing for me is I think in college I raced a little bit, but this year, particularly as a first season out pro, I raced so much that I feel like I've done 10 years of racing in 1 year. So that's good in the sense of experience.
I think it's partly just that the pro season goes until freaking September.
Yeah,
instead of June.
It's a different beast, that's for sure. Particularly if you're healthy and just being pushed into races. But
yeah,
I think that's it. That's it for me. So.
Crazy year for
Ollie.
Ollie.
Getting toe spaces, that is a big event towards the end of the year.
Tape in my mouth.
Yeah. Slowly morphing into George.
I just need the EXM.
Yeah. So moving on to George. George had a pretty cool year as well. First part of the year was characterized, I would say, by your sacrum injury, probably.
He broke his back, baby.
Yeah.
Broken back.
Was that January, February?
I spent all of January at home. That was actually pretty sweet.
You were still in New Zealand in January?
I came back on the 31st.
Oh, wow.
He came back into camp.
Yeah.
Didn't know that.
Went straight to Phoenix.
Okay, cool.
That was actually cool being able to spend 3 months in New Zealand for the first time in 6 years, basically.
Wow. Especially summertime.
That was a special part of the year. But then within 10 days of being back in the US, I went to New York with these guys and probably Ollie's most important race of the year to get him into the rest of the year, which were more important, obviously, but the one that had the biggest impact early on and probably... Well, Morgan's highest scoring race of the year somehow.
Big part of why I qualified for the Olympics was that race.
I went there with a broken back, so that was a bummer. I would have been in more. We would have got to race for.
Yeah, that would have been cool.
It was in 2 miles. I forgot about that.
That was a good race. Wish you were in there.
But that was my indoor season.
Yeah.
So I didn't do any indoor races.
Yeah,
that's all right.
But then on the flip side, you can also look at this year as. It's weird. You started the year off with a sacrum injury, which is obviously a very serious injury. But then on the flip side, this is probably one of your healthiest years you've had in forever.
Yeah, which is saying a lot for the last few years. My healthiest year ever is the one where I broke my sacrum. Nice.
Yeah. You got it out of the way nice and early.
Exactly. Do it. If you're going to do it in February.
Rip the Band-Aid off.
I had a theory going through college that if I got injured at Christmas time, I was going to race really well the rest of the year.
Yeah. All right.
I guess we'll see.
Yeah. I always got injured in April, March in college, which was just wrote off the entire outdoor season every single year.
Yeah, it's not a good time to get injured.
Shit timing.
Not at all. But yeah, so you ended this year healthy for the first time in a long time.
Yeah.
You actually
took a real break at the end of the season.
But before that, you had some big highlights in the year as well, which were probably the coolest things in the U.S. domestic season that you did, were those 2 mile wins. That was... Wait, which one was first?
Sir Walter, and then 2 weeks later at Pre.
Was Craig Engels in both those races?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he was 5th at Sir Walter, I think.
Okay.
And then 2nd at Pre.
Both those races were pretty dramatic to watch because So Walter, you started celebrating with like 50 meters to go, and you were still in second place.
He wasn't even in second. He was in like third or fourth. And
he just knew he was gonna win.
Yeah, and then the last one, I'll never forget Pretty, because it was the day before my race, and we're down there celebrating, and it's a great story. But me, Joe, Steve, who works for the Line for us, we were all sitting down there waiting to watch Geordie's race, and we had these Craig Ingles fans. They had posters. They were like young high school kids, and they're like obsessed. You could tell they're obsessed.
Classic
they loved him.
Fans.
And when he came on the track and they announced him and blah blah blah, they all geeing up and excited. Yeah. And he comes through, and if you guys haven't seen the clip, you should watch it. It's absolutely unbelievable. Craig makes a break to the straight in the last section of the race to win, and he does the arm wave up in the air.
Starts geeing up the crowd.
To try and gee up the crowd, celebrating 100 meters. Well, it's not celebrating, but like
kind of celebrating. It's celebrating, yeah.
100 meters out from the thing. And the Craig Ingles fans down near us were just going absolutely bananas about it. And then all of a sudden, like, we look, and Joe Klecker just looks out and goes, holy shit, look at George. And he comes home like a steam train. And he's like, he's going to get him. So we knew he was going to get him. He was screaming super loud, smacking the chairs, going crazy. And the Ingles fans are looking at us like kind of embarrassed because he just gets swamped at the end. And then Geordie comes around doing his victory lap. He comes to see us. The Craig Ingles fans come over to George and ask for his autograph.
Damn, you turned those ones pretty quick.
You turned them pretty quick. I mean, they still got Craig's autograph, but it was fucking hilarious to see them awesome. Like, George, sign my posters. Me and Joe were literally
they just rip off their Craig Ingles stuff and they got George Beamy stuff under it.
It's so funny.
Pretty cool. But that was hilarious. Craig took that pretty well.
I mean, he took it the best way possible. He just, enjoyed it.
If you watch the video, you can see when he crosses the line, he knows immediately what's happening. He's like, oh shit, I just did that. That just happened. That's embarrassing. Oh well. But
both those races were super fun and played out really similar. I ran within like 0.1 of a second on both. Like I ran 3:54 on both of them.
That's very impressive. Damn, that's crazy.
Which at the time was kind of a bummer because it probably could have run a lot faster at pre. But we went through in like 3:01 or something, or like 3 flat. But I mean, I was in last place, so it's mostly my fault. Like I didn't put myself in a position to run fast.
Yeah.
But it was kind of at the point of the season where any time where I was trying to qualify earlier in the year, like I just couldn't get to a point where I got fit enough earlier in the year, like coming off that injury to qualify for anything, which was a bummer, obviously. But then I kind of used those 6 weeks, like just training with Ollie and these guys for the Olympics, getting them ready, and then ended up being really fit at the end of the season where it was too late to do anything, but I mean, I could just have a lot of fun.
Yeah, except go a freaking race.
Yeah, and just do a bunch of races just for the hell of it, really.
Win some races. That's what it's all about.
I mean, like, there are some, probably not many, but there's probably some pros that have never like won a really big pro race.
Yeah, it's not easy to do.
It's not easy to do. So like to win 2 of them in after what you've been through is pretty pretty formidable.
Yeah.
Someone was telling me after those two that someone like that I was unbeaten in professional miles in America or something, because
it's a good stat.
I had the stat as well that I hadn't been beaten in a 1500 until I went to Gateshead.
Damn.
Because I won every 1500 as a pro until Gateshead.
That's true.
And Jakob beat me, which is good because Jakob now then won the
Olympics. That's good.
You still haven't lost one in America?
No, I haven't lost. Pre. Oh, pre was
the 1500.
Pre was a mile. Yeah, so I haven't. Yeah, I haven't lost the 1500.
There.
Yeah.
I technically haven't lost the 1500 in.
Damn! America. Look at you guys. It's awesome.
Anyway.
Moving on from that, then George running 13:12 was obviously huge as well. Getting that first World Champs Com Games qualifier, especially so early, and just like that's a big jump forwards. Like I think running a time like that in December.
Got my first world standard before I got my first car.
Huge.
That is big.
Wait, no, that's the same as me.
Yeah.
I got my world standard.
Hey Ollie, why are you making everything about you?
No, because he looked at me funny that I like bought a car before I got the world standard. Like that's not right, bro. Actually, no, it is right because Tennessee. But I was gonna ask you, George, after that amazing run, how's the reception been from New Zealand? Like New Zealand fans, radio, have they got in contact with? Because like there's not many. I mean, you're only 2 seconds off the New Zealand 5K record. That's a pretty big deal. Like they haven't done a 5K guy for a very long time. So I'm wondering if there's been a bit of hype around you leading into the into World Champs.
I don't want to there's probably been a little bit. It's hard to tell from over here.
Yeah,
I've done like one.
It is tough. I was
I've done one little interview. I've done one radio interview.
Yeah.
But I mean, I'm sure they're pumped about it. Like,
yeah. Because it is something that's, I think, I mean, New Zealand as well as Australia, and I think Joe Klecker mentioned it in a weird way, saying like Joe pretty much said all these good talented runners come from these countries that you wouldn't expect, which I didn't know.
Well, he was referring to New Zealand.
He was referring to New Zealand, Australia, like small countries like Norway now and stuff like that. He was saying like they're not
like disproportionate number.
They're not coming from mass-produced countries like the United States, Russia, China.
Outperform our size for sure. But we also, it is kind of weird to say that right now because we have like amazing histories in the sport.
Exactly, and that's why I refer to with Georgia, New Zealand. Like their track and field history is pretty.
I mean, and that world standard is no joke either. I feel like that one is
13-13 is no joke.
Yeah, it is pretty freaking hard. Only two New Zealanders had ever run under that time, and one of them was Dick Quacks from the 70s, and that was the world record at the time.
Damn, that's crazy to think
the only
about.
other person since then to run under that standard. Like, obviously, it's only been a standard for the last 2 years, but as Blinker.
Yeah.
So that's pretty crazy.
So, yeah, that's a pretty cool year for George as well. No, not quite as much excitement off the track in terms of, like, new girlfriends or anything.
Old girlfriends still.
Oh, still got
Gina!
Still got the old girlfriends, but, moving on to me.
Morgan. Can I do
Morgs.
you?
Yeah, you can do me.
So, Morgan...
what did I do this year?
You this year, I think the tough thing was in your ankle.
Yeah, spraining my ankle was probably a big part. Characterized.
Was it between indoor and outdoor?
It was.
How many times did you race indoors after New Balance?
There was a massive blizzard storm in Austin.
That was it.
That was the only indoor race you did?
Yeah.
I guess they weren't. They usually weren't.
Well,
last
so the
year,
race
right?
the race that the ankle took me out of was the 5K because that was a week later. That's what I was preparing for essentially. Like that's why I was in Austin because the 5K was meant to be in Austin, and then I wasn't going to run it because
you were going to go to that other one.
Yeah, and then I sprained my ankle, so that. If you count that as indoors, because that was indoors time.
Indoors,
it really was,
even though it was outdoors. So
they just weren't having indoor meets, so they had to put on
outdoor
ones during what would be.
Yeah, so that had a pretty big impact on my.
It did actually, it really did.
Still, like, kind of coming. Essentially, I guess I am coming back from that injury now in a way because I had to get my first PRP injection because of that and stuff after the season, and it led to my pelvis. So a lot of injury, which is not a fun way to spend a year. But on the flip side, I also joined the OAC.
You did.
You
joined the OAC in a rushed kind of way.
Yeah, which potentially wouldn't have happened if I hadn't sprained my ankle. And if you get really deep into it, like, I don't know if I would have been able to join in that same way because things just would have been different. So joining, I think I will hope that in a few years from now, when I look back on this year, joining the OAC will be a bigger deal than spraining my ankle was. Like,
I'd hope so.
Impact that it has on me.
Well,
that's the goal.
Started living with the OAC before you joined the OAC though.
Yeah.
Which also probably had a solid impact on joining
it was
the
in
team.
the works though. I
Definitely.
mean, the conversations we've made, I think it just
probably
depended
had
on
been
situational stuff and like what was going to be best for Morgan moving forward in the Olympic year.
Well, there was a lot of situational stuff because think about this, for example, if Louis G signed with you guys, like, I wouldn't have been able to sign.
Yeah.
Like, something as basic as that would have stopped me from signing.
A lot of moving pieces of that puzzle. And
so, it is kind of crazy. Like, a lot of things did have to come together in my favor for me to be able to join.
I think another highlight that Morgan will not... I'm very proud of Morgan for what he did this year, and he's going to shake his head and go, fuck off, mate. But you had a great race in France where you ran 13-13.
Yeah, that was a good race.
This is 13-13 also with the ankle. The pelvis is coming. Like, you're running these as a wounded soldier.
Yeah.
And, I mean, to be able to do what you did and then get to the Olympics, particularly with the way Australia has been so challenging to make those teams because our distance team has been pretty awesome. It's very, very impressive. So I'm very proud of Morgan to be able to do that and achieve his dream.
Yeah, I mean, achieving my dream to make the Olympics obviously is a highlight of 2021 as well.
You didn't do it like at 100%, did you? You did it at
but
you remind me of like a wounded soldier just fighting it, just going as hard as you can to do what you can to make the team, and that was it was pretty awesome to watch. It was actually, for me, pretty inspiring because I had nothing like.
Easily could have thrown in the towel.
Yeah, it was tough, but
you could have blamed it on injuries and said, "Oh, not my year," but you didn't do that, so that was very impressive.
Yeah, well, thank you, boys. That makes me feel good. But Off the track, I was just thinking about this right now. I kind of like, because moving in, starting the coffee club really big, but also like I didn't really think about this, but pretty much like YouTube channel started at the beginning of this year as well, which I didn't even think about.
It seems longer ago than that.
Yeah, I think my first video came out like the last week of December.
How is
the year before.
This is going to be a very stupid journalist question. How has this YouTube thing changed your life, like your perception of running? Like, because obviously now as a guy that does YouTube and is also very popular on YouTube with running, how has that affected your outlook on the life you live with a professional runner?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's been like overwhelmingly positive.
Yeah,
had like a positive impact on me. I will say, like, I started strong and then I didn't make videos for like 6 months of the year or more than that. Now I'm back making them again, trying to do once every 2 weeks. So I've been through definitely kind of ups and downs of it. Pretty much when I got injured, it was like really hard to make videos at that time because not in the right headspace. But I'm just that type of person who like likes to be doing something mostly. I like to feel like I'm growing in a certain way and like work on stuff. And so that's a lot of YouTube has been like that for me. In terms of like more specific to running, I think it like helps a lot if you look at like sponsorship and stuff. I feel kind of weird saying that because I don't think I'm really big enough on YouTube yet for that to matter that much, but maybe it helps me a little bit.
The space of a year though, you've gained quite a following. I mean, the funniest thing was, I'm going to bring it up because I thought it was hilarious. I think we're at the trials, US trials.
Yeah.
And this young kid with his dad was like near the lights when we were doing a run. And Joe had just made the Olympic team in the 10K. And he turned around and looked at us and he's like, "Oh my God, Dad, get a photo quick." And he grabbed Morgan.
Yeah.
And we thought he was going for Joe. And he's
funny.
like, "I love you, YouTube." And he got a photo. And then like Morgan's like, "You know this guy just made the Olympics for the US, right?" Like it was a funny moment because that's how, for me personally, seeing that's how impactful YouTube is.
It really is really impactful. It is. It's super impactful.
It's pretty awesome. And I think now like a lot of athletes are taking advantage of that.
Yeah.
But another question I have for you. What would you like to see with your YouTube in the coming year? What's your goals?
So I try to keep it like pretty personal and not like trying to be like, oh, I want to be able to like make a bunch of money off it. I just want to be able to consistently make a video every 2 weeks. And I feel like if I do that, I'll get better at it and the videos will get better. And like, that's all I can really ask for. So that's all like I really would say. Obviously I want to have success in it and like be able to do well with it. But yeah, I have struggled obviously this year with making videos consistently. So that's the main thing I want to do. But yeah, it's really fun and it is like a big community and it is one of those things which I think helps people enjoy the sport. So
definitely. I think if you're fans of Morgan's YouTube, definitely look forward to the next year. I think particularly with being part of the OAC and the team camps we're going to be doing. Yeah. Hopefully the meets are going to be going together. There's going to be some good content there.
Yeah, I mean my videos, if it's just me, are pretty boring compared to how entertaining the videos are if it's like a bunch of us together. So
I think that's going to
there'll be some really good ones from Florida.
So I hope so.
Make sure you check that out when we eventually go through that process. But
well, they'll be fun to do.
What about personal?
Well, that was personal.
That is personal.
Like nothing else has really changed. Moving in together.
Yeah.
I feel like that was a pretty big one because
that did change.
What about
our team was already pretty close, just because we always I already lived with Carlos and had to spend a shit ton of time with Ollie, like without a choice. But now
no one gets a choice and they're hanging out with me, baby.
But we didn't see
I didn't know you guys very well.
No, I think the friendships grew quite a bit. Yeah. And also, like, Zach Snyder moving in. I mean, having a former Wisconsin boy in our house just feels like college vibes.
We have an amazing house right now. We're, like, really lucky. I don't want to take it for granted. Like, the setup that we have in our lives right now is very special. Yeah. We enjoy it a lot, and it's good for all of us.
Yeah.
So, that's it on the personal level of us. That's our 2021. But moving on to the OAC, there's kind of, like, a lot you could say OAC. So I just generally, like, amazing success, just to summarize it like that, and that was seen with like almost everyone like running pretty amazing.
It's been interesting because everyone's stories developed quite a bit after 1 year. You don't see that a lot with pro group. Like I don't think a lot of pro groups have all the athletes having a massive development growth. Usually it's only maybe one or two, but most of our group had a massive impact on the sport one way or another. So
yeah, and it wasn't like just a few like random occasions. It was literally the first race of the year was like the 3:32, and then all the way to December running 13:09 and 13:12 on
Yeah.
the team, like, and everything in between.
And Joe
was
Klecker's
like-
streak of how many
Klecker's
times did
streak-
he PB in a row? Was it
Almost
10?
every-
I think it was
race.
like 10. It was every race until the trials.
Yeah.
I think.
Like that's
He'd
crazy.
run a PR.
I think the one thing,
Which was
speaking on
pretty crazy.
the men's side, it's just interesting because they had the unique opportunity of signing all these guys out of college at the same time. Very, I think, high. Every athlete was high profile, like really had a lot of potential, and to be able to have like the culture that we have and the growth that the men's side has had has been fantastic.
Yeah,
So
was
that's
it
been really cool.
3 out of 5 men were Olympians and 2 out of 5 women.
Yeah.
Five Olympians out of 10.
Yeah. It's pretty cool.
That's pretty awesome.
Pretty good
I mean, we
stats.
snagged Morgan because Joe Bossard did.
We kinda did.
training
Yeah,
for
I
that.
need to give the credit mostly to Team Boss.
Yeah,
Well, not
team-
mostly, like pretty much
yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
Joe definitely got you there. We
For
we
sure.
were just lucky to have you near the end.
Yeah.
But I think with the men's side, it's been fantastic. Obviously, grabbing Morgan and then having 5 guys who have been very very young. A lot of ceiling, I think, in their potential. So
A lot of ceiling. It's a great way of putting it.
that's another way to say it.
A lot of potential definitely for
Yeah,
everyone.
a lot
And
of
like the potential has been realized for 3 of you. For me, not so much for Carlos to struggle with the
I was about to
injuries.
say, I think we could definitely speak for Carlos in saying that he's had a disappointing year for him. Like, he would have wanted a lot more out of it.
Yeah.
He's been injured for the majority of the year, kind of just on and off. Like, nothing big enough to stop him running for any long period of time, like while during racing, but just never been able to get in
Yeah.
consistent training.
Yeah, and those are like the injuries that actually are way tougher.
They're almost worse.
Way tougher.
Like, that was what was
it's always
nice.
it's always considered.
Yeah.
Like,
That's what's nice about doing my sacrum. Like,
Yeah.
nothing you can do about it.
Yeah.
You just sit and rest for a while.
You take
and then
time off.
You deal with it.
And it will reliably
Especially
get better.
bone is so reliable
Mhm.
at just healing.
Yeah.
Whereas like Carlos, just like nagging tendon,
Yeah.
ankle stuff, like the process of healing that is actually way more frustrating
Yeah.
than
Yeah.
something that sounds worse.
Yeah.
Like, oh, stress fracture. But it's actually like,
Yeah.
sounds worse, but it's
Probably
but it's really not.
bad Achilles are probably what ends like most people's careers early, as opposed to like any other dramatic injury. Like those stuff like of that nature are just so difficult to deal with. So, Carlos obviously not super pumping this year, but as Ollie said, like a lot of potential going forward still. But
He's been a great teammate.
yeah, amazing
Been very
teammate.
supportive of everyone, and we love having him around. So hopefully, this year coming, he can get into that groove and
Yep.
work it through.
Yeah, and then looking at the OAC still, it all a lot of it culminated at the Olympic trials in terms of drama and
Definitely.
excitement, which is the way the sport is, like for the year in general. The Olympics are obviously the highlight of the year, but here specifically the US Olympic trials is the most crazy event that happens. It's just so much madness, and it did not disappoint this year at all.
No.
Looking at OAC specifically first, we had Joe race. Was he
On the
day
very first
one?
day,
Yeah,
yeah.
day one, and he
He made the Olympics.
made the Olympics, and that's like
Convincingly too. Like,
It was him, Woody, and
looked
Grant
so solid.
by daylight.
yeah, and that's someone who Joe had qualified. I mean, Joe had graduated from college 1 year before, and he was good in college, but he wasn't like, oh yeah, this guy's going to qualify for the Olympics next year, good. And then he made that jump, and then he's an Olympian. I mean, and from the first race of the season, he did show that he was at that level.
Definitely.
But to do it is a different thing, and so like to see that happen was crazy. I imagine it was wild for you guys who'd been with him.
It was very. That's the one I always mention in interviews, is that like the one thing I love about this team is that I feel like when I watch another teammate's race, I feel like I've contributed to their success somehow. So like, not being a selfish person, but like I've helped them somehow. I've been able to give them a good training partner or a good situation with where they train and be able to help them with that. Like I feel.
You're just
I
so
feel good about
emotionally
it.
invested in their performance.
which
Yeah.
is something
I think
that
Joe
don't
definitely felt that after the race too. I remember, like,
In
he was
Boston?
pretty emotional.
at
At the trials, yeah.
He's
He was
very
very
emotional.
emotional. I'd never seen Joe that emotional.
Yeah,
Joe's
he's
pretty,
super emotional.
He seemed pretty stoic.
Yeah.
It was
he
pretty special.
very-
And his family was there, and his mom was an Olympian.
Yeah, his mum was an Olympian. He's an Olympian.
So-
It was a very special moment, and I think particularly as well for the brand, because regardless of the internationals, no one had been selected except for, I think Alicia was selected before the US trials.
Mhm.
But this was like this was like a big indication of we we proved it. We got a guy that could get to the Olympics.
Yeah, and if we're looking at it like just subjectively, the way the sport is, On is a Swiss brand, but this is a distance running group based in America. Having U.S. Olympians is the top goal, and that is so hard to do.
In the first year,
that is so hard to achieve. That's what everyone wants to achieve in terms of like. That's why all these groups exist, for that reason primarily. That's the pinnacle.
Yeah.
And Joe went out there and did that, and then he was backed up by Alicia, who similarly had a ridiculous performance. Like if you think the men are good, the women are even more crazy.
Yeah.
It's like, especially on the American level, and the way that race played out, where it was super hot.
It was hard to watch.
10K, and they were running so quick, and it was just, Alicia is like, she's like what, 22 years old, 23, she's so young and
very young, and she
talented.
had to go to hospital afterwards.
It was amazing. It was
pretty fantastic the way she ran that race. Just shows guts and determination.
I mean, that week was pretty important, like, for the team too, because like you said, that's kind of how the sport works. Like, we rely on a good amount of funding to be a team, and in order to have that, like, we have to be performing at a certain level, and that definitely like solidified our place in the sport.
There's definitely when are looking at why are we supporting these athletes, there's 3 events that come to mind. It's the Olympics, US trials, and Diamond Leagues. Those are the races that they want on athletes in, and not just competing, but succeeding. So to have 2 US Olympians, young Olympians too, is a really cool achievement for OAC, and Dathan should be very, very proud and happy with the year that he's had.
Yeah, and then the other probably most dramatic part of the whole, even more dramatic than those 2, was watching Leah race, where she was in 3rd position, I think, with 2 laps to go, maybe.
I think it was
and
probably 2 to go.
They were pulling away, and
like she looked like she had the 3rd spot locked up to make the team in the women's steeplechase, and then she fell over a barrier, and it was crazy. It was like so sad.
And particularly because of her story, I think if people know Leah Fallon well, the trials of 2016 were very tough for her. For the same, she had a plantar.
She was pretty injured,
and she tore it completely, I think, off a water barrier jump. But she literally she just hadn't had a good run of it.
Yeah, I mean, she'd been a pro for 5 or 6 years at this point, and her first 3 or 4 years of being a pro had been really tough, and this had been such a big comeback year for her, and so making the Olympic,
and still was.
Yeah, it still was, but making the Olympics was closing the fairy tale. That's the finish to the fairy tale comeback. And then she was so close, and then to have it ripped away like that. I mean, I was sitting in the stands with all these guys, and I was joining the team, but I hadn't been around these people at all really. So I was a little bit on the outside, but I was even super emotional, and then everyone else was just crying, literally crying. They had a cameraman there from On that was trying to film, and it was really awkward because he's didn't really want to film because it was just that depressing. It was so sad. And then she, in classic Leah form, she handled it so well. Her
interviews were very impressive.
Great interviews, but she was very sad, but then went out that night and just
had a great time.
I think
the one thing that was another reason why I'm so proud of this group in general was with the success and with the drama and the heartbreak of that, is that when Leah finished 2016, I think she had a lot of personal problems as well. She didn't really have much of a support crew. She was literally on her own, leaving a bit of a upsetting 2016 trials. And then after that, she came out with her husband was waiting for her, her whole family, friends, and the OAC. And
I have the image I have the image in my head of we all met her at the first point that the public could get to for the athletes, and there were probably 25 people there, waiting for her to come out and be there for her.
I think that made her more emotional because I think she knew now that regardless.
I think she just turned around and was like, "Why does everyone look so sad?" or something.
She said something weird like that, but I think she realized there it made her more emotional because her support structure now is far superior than what she had before, and I think it's given her that spark that. I have the resources I need to bounce back and do well, and she did in Stockholm. Yeah, she ran an amazing Diamond League race.
She ran a PB. Yeah.
I fucking hate remembering that day.
Yeah, it was tough.
It was really fun after. It was really special for the team, but
It was
rough.
a tough pill to swallow because you want it so bad for someone, but you can't do anything
Yeah.
other than what they can do.
There's
So.
nothing you can do about that. So that's what OAC
Yep.
in a nutshell. Amazing success. Obviously, yeah, some drama along the way, but overall, year one was pretty crazy. Then moving on to the running world, there is obviously endless things that we could talk about. It was an Olympic year. So we're just going to kind of talk about the things that probably were the biggest deals for us, like in the way that we experienced the sport. And the number one, these first couple are surrounding the US trials as well. The number one was probably Shelby testing positive.
I think it was, yeah.
That was just
Especially after a COVID year where she proved that she was like one of the best runners in
on
the world.
track to medal at the
Yeah.
Olympics, probably.
Or win.
Yeah.
And then that
Yeah.
bombshell hit because we hadn't seen her competing for a while. I'm like, is Shelby injured? What's going on? That dropped at the US trials.
Like a
Everything
day
changed.
before or 2 days before
Everything
the Olympic
changed.
trials. And
That
then
was wild.
there was the stuff where she was still on the entry list to race, and then
The USATF were going to take her off. and
yeah,
then
and the weight went
literally,
up.
like the world body, like literally said, if it was any other country, she would have been taken off. You need to take her off.
Yeah, and
and
like
she
a bunch of
eventually-
athletes like signed a thing to
Yeah.
Yeah.
She put out a statement that she was never planning on running.
She
if
did say
wasn't
that.
cleared. But
which fair, I guess.
fair
but
enough. But it
but
didn't
also
look great.
at that time, that was when her statement, like it was very calculated the way that the Shelby and Bauman released the story to the public, like it was on their terms.
Mhm.
And that was when the famous burrito story came out,
The burrito.
which is just like the biggest BS story in the world.
Shelby's authentic burritos. What was that thing?
Yeah, donation for a GoFundMe. Somebody donated $500 saying for Shelby's authentic Mexican burritos. I mean, to be like that blew up on every sports media. Like
Yeah,
even the guys, those two knuckleheads that talk about football all the time. I don't know what that show
part of my
is.
take.
But it could be that they were talking about it.
Really?
Yeah, because it
Big
was
cat?
such a. But the reason why it was such a big story is because they could just word it as U.S.
There was some pretty funny
blames a
headlines
positive test
for
on
the
a
next
burrito.
week.
Yeah, I tell you what was like
it's a
kind of
pretty
like an
easy-
Arsenal one was that like PETA, like PETA, like the animal welfare group, like tweeted
Yeah.
at her and like sent her
Oh,
a gift
yeah.
bag, being like, "This is why you shouldn't eat meat." Kind of like piling it on. They took. I guess everyone just jumped on it because it was that big of a story.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
massive. And
What
she and like that was the one thing that I spoke because obviously we were going to our first US trials. We never know what to expect, but that changed everything. Like it was just everywhere, and that kind of overshadowed a lot of things that the US trials.
It changed it. It changed all. Like she was entered in the 1500 and the 5K. It changed both those events completely.
Yep.
It changed the reputation of the Bauman completely.
Definitely.
Didn't
And-
change Nike's reputation though.
already had a bad reputation.
That's true.
correct. That is correct.
But
They now have two groups. One
I think most people
themselves.
haven't looked at Bauman Track Club the same since.
No,
I would say
they're
I
still
haven't.
loyal fans. They're
Yeah,
still
well,
loyal
it
fans.
created a massive divide in the fans. I think
Mhm.
before that, everyone was like, yeah, Bauman good guys. Now there's people who are like, still think Bauman good guys, and there are people like, how can you, like, the facts are out there, how can you not read this and be like, she doped, like, because that is like the evidence is saying that, but then it's so difficult. Like, I don't even know how I feel about it still. It's
Dude, I can't get over that now Bauman and Union, which is literally essentially old project. The two groups that have drug issues, same sponsor,
yeah.
and they're still one of the biggest and most popular groups in the world. It's crazy.
Yeah,
You would think that, let's move on to somewhere else, but no.
I don't know what they're still the most highest performing groups, I guess, is the reality. And like a lot of people,
reality.
a lot
But
of
then,
fans of
like,
the sport
if it's-
just like
If
high
it's a high
performance.
performing group that's winning medals and they have positive drug tests, you wonder,
It's not a good look.
It's not a good look. It's
Yeah.
like it definitely discredits the perception of them
Well,
winning those medals on their own merit, which
Well,
they shouldn't because I'm sure that those athletes.
it negatively affects the whole sport. Like that's a big,
Yeah.
like similar to the way that a lot of people view cycling. It really takes away from a lot of it, which is just sad. Just as we talked about when we covered it earlier, it's just a lose-lose. So yeah, that was crazy and still ongoing, I guess. But then moving on from that,
We have another positive drug test.
yeah. So Shikari,
Yeah.
that was similarly just
That was
absolute
after,
bombshell
right?
because the way that she won the trials was freaking. She was a star.
She was a baller.
Do you guys remember at the time she gained like 1 million Instagram followers
Yeah.
in like 2 days?
She's in a song with like Drake.
Yeah,
referenced her in a
she
song.
was in the Beats ad
Yeah.
with I think Kanye made the
Yeah.
song for that. She was in this Beats ad and she was in a Drake song. And then,
this almost made her more popular though.
it did. I would say it did. Because
President Biden was talking about her.
Was he really?
Yeah.
Was he really?
There was an interview with him. He was in an ice cream shop, and they asked him, "What do you think of Sha'Carri Richardson's ban about the weed?" And he said this. He goes, "The ban is necessary because that's the rules of the sport, but should the rules be changed is another matter."
Yeah.
So there was a discussion of should.
And I think people mostly agree on that.
Yeah.
I mean,
Like
people
they're not
don't
going to be
really
in the
care
rules
about
because
weed.
they're written, but
Yeah.
also like people are asking like
Why is weed in competition?
like, maybe
ban?
we should look at that rule.
So-
But yeah, that was a bombshell because you thought the drama had ended, the trials were over, Shelby's story came out, and then that came out, and I remember looking at Dathan going, what the fuck is happening next? Like,
Yeah.
What was quite
That's
different is
crazy.
that it was only a 30-day ban, right?
Yeah.
It must.
Except that it happened to go through the Olympics.
Yeah, just the worst timing
Yeah.
ever. Cause
And then she did come back and run a bunch,
but she ran bad.
but she ran
Do
bad.
you remember that?
I mean,
She
the
ran
way-
real bad.
I think Jason or someone was saying like, I think that apparently that's pretty tough for a sprinter. Like you have to be like racing and be like always just going.
Makes
like, it's-
sense.
I mean, we don't know
also
shit
the
about
attention,
sprinting.
the media,
but-
the pressure. I got a
Yeah.
lot of things on her shoulders, and it would have been.
She probably got some pretty good appearance fees though.
Oh yeah.
After
Yeah,
that.
she probably did, honestly.
So
But-
good for her.
Yeah, so those are like probably the two craziest things, which are both just drug related. So it's kind of sad, but like in a positive note, the Olympics happened this year, so obviously that's going to be like the real highlight of the sport, like it is every single 4 years.
That's true. But then the fact that there were no fans at the Olympics, but there were fans at every single other sporting event, like in the
sad.
world, was a real bummer.
I think if it had happened,
especially
in
for
a
you
different
guys, I'm
country,
sure.
if it happened in a different country, there would have been
Yeah.
fans. But Japan just, they're very
Like,
tough.
Every single Diamond League event was sold out. Like
Dude.
there was.
Zurich was sold out. Brussels was half capacity, but it was 20,000.
That's true.
It made me realize that
It was possible.
the Olympics.
but-
The Olympics was an amazing experience, but we didn't really experience it just yet because of that fan base. I think like having
It
that
was a different
stadium
version.
with fans in it,
But also,
different-
And like not being
Also-
able to go into Tokyo, I feel like is a huge
we couldn't even
Yeah.
get out of the village.
is a huge loss.
just a very unique experience for the Olympics. And sad in a lot of ways, especially for the Japanese people.
Definitely.
And, all that stuff, because they
Volunteers.
would have lost so much
Yeah.
money hosting it like in
They were
that
amazing.
fashion.
They did an amazing
And the
job.
people would have been so sad. Of Japan would have been so sad not to be able to enjoy the Olympics. But so what like a kind of, because a lot of crazy, like every time, like the sport in terms of performances at the Olympics was just on a whole new level. So what do we say are like the most crazy things? Because to me, like as distance runners, I think Jakob was probably like winning a gold medal in the 1500 at like 20 years old, or whatever he is.
It's outrageous.
Also running 3:28. In that
Yeah,
race.
and the Olympic record by like 4 seconds or something.
Yeah.
I think.
He made it look pretty easy.
Yeah, he looked way too good.
Jakob, I heard that. I mean, people probably know this, but Jakob's dad said that his threshold or his aerobic fitness was like pretty much damn perfect, but his sprinting is like got a lot of work to do. So
He's going to get better.
that's the
Which is hard to believe because he like outkicked every single person
Yeah.
this year.
There's
nothing except
I wouldn't be
Chariot got
surprised.
him in the Diamond League finals.
Monaco Diamond League. I would not be surprised he's going for the world record. Which is 3:26
No,
flat.
no reason why not.
No reason why not.
Yeah.
So
But the way he runs, you can tell the difference is that he's so much fitter. He's just like, you know what I mean? Like that's where he's got an amazing kick because it's so easy for him.
the one thing that I have to bring up, and I don't want to be a downer, but if you look at the track record of the Ingebrigtsens, they're all decent young guys, but they've just completely dropped off in performance. Will Jakob be able to continue?
Neither of the other two were anywhere near as good as
Philip was a
Jakob
bronze
is.
medalist at
Philip
Worlds.
was pretty good, but
But
when
not
you
on
say-
Jakob's level.
No, not on Jakob's level. And Gert did say like he made mistakes and he's learned from them with Jakob. He did mention that, but
Damn, we just seen Henrik and Philip were just like fucking.
yeah, they do. Talk
They're just
about
guinea
that.
pigs.
kind of said that.
Henrik does say that. Like,
Yeah.
Damn.
they were kind of
But
guinea
the thing
pigs.
is, he's been probably
Sacrificial lambs
Yeah.
to make Jakob
He's
real
been running
good.
at the level that he wants to run at, that high intensity level for
A long
a
time.
long time.
Maybe
So
Jakob
can
is
he
really.
continue it? I'm not saying
Yeah.
like it's going to be a bad thing. I'm just
Maybe
hoping
Jakob's
that
another sacrificial lamb for his little sister.
It could be. Apparently, she's even better. So
Yeah.
that's the question. Can he
We'll see
continue
what
it?
happens. And like the
next few
thing with the
years
other two,
to Paris?
it's not like they dropped off in terms of just performance. Like they got worse. It's been injuries. Like both of them are just I think
True.
struggled with
Oh,
injuries a
that's-
bunch. So
yeah.
that's like what has like changed for
Because
them.
Philip ran 32
Did he?
this season. Yeah, he ran in
Did-
Monaco, which is Monaco, but
Yeah, short track.
short track.
Yeah.
But I would say
Short track until Ollie goes.
Yeah.
the one thing that I have to
Didn't run
note,
3:28.
and I don't know if many people would agree with me, but I think the US team didn't do as well as they should have on the men's side at the Olympics. I think
Yeah.
there's a lot of upsets there. The women did great, I think.
Yeah, this
The men,
well, even the women got upset. I mean, I don't honestly remember, but like in the sprints, you remember in the women's, like the Jamaican women crushed them.
I wouldn't
In
call that
the-
an upset though. She was better
I think
than
she was
Yeah.
just way better.
She's just
She
way
was. She was.
without
that's fair.
Shikari there. I say Athing Mu just dominated the
Yeah.
800.
That was
I mean,
fucking
Courtney
sweet.
Ferrix in the
That was
steeple,
amazing.
amazing race.
Yeah.
An
Yeah,
unbelievable
you're right.
race. And then 400 hurdles, Sydney McLaughlin, unbelievable.
Yeah.
Next to her fellow countrymen.
So this is looking at USA.
Like that's the women's.
Yeah.
The men's though, Grant Holloway was upsetted. The 100.
I mean, he
meters-
got silver, didn't he, though?
Yeah, I mean,
So still
I'm-
pretty
I'm
solid.
saying like
Yeah.
that's incredible achievement, but I'm saying
Did he
like,
break the world
he was
record
probably
before
the
that?
favourite.
Like, it's some...
I don't think so.
I think maybe indoors or something. Maybe an indoors 60.
When did he not get it?
I don't think so.
He got
Hmm.
darn close though. But like, I'm not saying
Could
that's
be
a
wrong.
bad performance, but I'm saying that he was expected to win.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people
He's a
expected
world.
to
He's a
win.
world champ.
Yeah, world champion. Donovan Bradshaw wasn't in the 800.
Yeah, that was big as well.
Um,
We didn't even talk about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
400 hurdles. Carson, they both went under 46.
Yeah.
Carson and
That was one of the most ridiculous. That was
Honestly, that was
that's
maybe
probably the best race. Of
Yeah,
the
the best
Olympics.
race.
He
Yeah.
did... Carson Warren won Athlete of the Year,
Yeah.
Which he should have.
deservingly.
Yeah,
certainly.
that's crazy.
And then I think I remember talking to Dathan about it. I think the biggest, because there's a lot of, they weren't doing very well on the men's side, but the biggest turnaround was the gold medal in the shot put for USA.
Yeah.
I don't even know if that was a turnaround. He
Which
he
was
broke the
expected.
world record at the trials.
Oh no, it was
And he
expected,
won
but they
by,
hadn't.
like-
I don't think the US men's side had not won a gold medal in the track and field until then.
Didn't they win both relays?
They might have.
Did they?
I don't know.
The women did. The
No,
women
wait,
won the
no. I
4x4.
think the Italians did.
Oh, the Italian men won, and then didn't the Jamaican women?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think you're right. I don't know what I was talking about.
But yeah,
Italians had a. How did they?
How they had-
High jump.
They won the
How
high
did
jump
the
and
Italians get so
4x1 and the
And
4
the
Yeah.
100. 100 meter being won by an Italian. Like, what the hell?
That is
He was a
ridic-
long jumper apparently as well.
Really?
Yeah.
No, I've never heard of him before.
No,
Never.
no one had.
He's the Olympic champion. Crazy.
That's pretty sweet.
But you already mentioned her, but I think we should probably give more props to Athing Mu because that was like
Yeah.
She came. I think she
so
was.
crazy.
I would like her
She
to break
came
that
off-
world record.
Yeah, she came off college
she
too,
will.
right? Because she was
Well,
college
I think
racing.
she, I think she was literally a
She
freshman
went-
in college. I'm pretty sure she was like a freshman, like because it was. You remember from indoors.
I think
it was
she
crazy.
maybe or like a COVID freshman.
Yeah.
Like she would have been. Yeah.
But very young, and she like came in indoors and was just running ridiculous, and then she just never slowed down.
I loved watching her run too because she was just did not give a fuck. She was
Yeah.
just got like.
Well, she
would
actually
run the
lost
race.
indoors. I
Did
mean,
she?
she just ran the 400.
She also, but,
But
she lost indoors in the 400 though, and then she did a 400 split and split in like 49 or some shit.
Wait, she did the 400. She didn't do the 800 in indoors.
No,
I don't think she did the
She
800
did-
outdoors either.
No, I think you're
Both
right.
times, I think she ran the 400.
And then she ended up winning the Olympics in the 800.
Yeah.
pretty incredible. But she just won the Bowman
Yeah.
as well. I mean, it's an amazing athlete. I'm excited to see how her
Yeah,
career
she's pretty dope.
and what she does next.
Yeah. So, anything else cool happened in the Olympics? Don't know.
I mean, the high jump,
The men's
was
high
cool.
jump was cool.
the sharing the gold medal, that was pretty sick. I remember.
Yeah.
In
I'm kind of
Yeah.
jealous that they have the ability to do that. Like,
And then I got to watch that guy compete a couple of times in Europe. He was at
Yeah.
that tiny Rovereto meet I went
Oh,
to
yeah.
because that was like his club.
no way.
So he was like a local. That was freaking sweet. And then also in
he was in
um,
Zurich.
yeah, he was in Zurich, but more I think in Brussels. Maybe I was just sitting way closer to where he was. And he's like so entertaining to watch.
Really?
He's always like hyping up the crowd and like, wait, was it?
He was cool to go to a bar with as well.
I think maybe it was in Zurich actually. Like he was like, he always just fucking around between every single jump. Like
Yeah.
he looks like he's just bouncing off the walls.
That's the shit that makes you
Dude,
so
when I-
jealous.
And then
like,
right
He
before
also like
they have like the Diamond League trophies, like that little
the diamond.
the diamond on
Yeah.
top of like the oval
the
shape.
track,
Like
yeah.
they had it like over by the high jump.
Yeah.
And like he had like a height to clear to win. He was like the last person in, and he like grabs the trophy and like puts it on a little table right beside the bar,
You can.
and then like runs back to his mark, like jumps over, like clears it, and then just immediately grabs the trophy, and then reaches into his bag, pulls out the gold medal from the Olympics, like puts on the gold
What
medal,
a legend.
grabs the trophy, and then just does like a victory lap.
Dude, I
Like
remember at
he's
Zurich
so entertaining.
after we went out to like there was like a bar club thing that they had the athletes at, and he was there. He was just like very good looking Italian guy, dressed beautifully, having drinks, just walking around, being so like just being like
he's a character,
just being a legend. Yeah,
just being an Olympic champion
being
out there.
Legend.
Yeah, no, that's pretty sweet. That's probably the Olympics.
Yeah.
The other thing that we wanted to talk about was this might be the final thing, but the teams, the new groups, and the changes of groups of this year, because it's really interesting. Firstly, the big Tin-Man debacle was this year.
Yeah.
That was crazy. Thinking back on that. Man, a lot did happen this year. Tin-Man break up with their coach, Tom Schwartz.
Tin-Man break up with the Tin-Man.
Yeah, Mr. Tin-Man himself. And that was crazy how that played out. Like one of those came out on Let's Run and it blew up in their faces. Like they were trying to like keep it quiet until later in the year because they were all focusing on trying to run, and a lot of them were.
Did Hoka's group break up this year? Was that must have been last year, but they kind of reformed this year.
Yeah.
In Y&J.
Yeah, I think we can count that as this year.
They became Empire Elite.
Yeah. Yep. Empire, and then the new Puma group.
Puma Elite Running.
Well, we're just giving.
That's a bad.
We're just giving shout outs to all these other companies.
True.
No, well,
but this is good for the sport.
Yeah,
it's hashtag good for the sport, just not hashtag good for the sport in the way in which their names and their just terrible names.
Yeah.
The Union.
Yeah. Very recently.
District.
Union.
District.
District we were around before.
What's about the
Really?
Dark Sky?
Corey loses one.
No, it's kind of different.
What's happening?
District.
What's
Was
happening
it?
with Dark Sky? Dark Sky still exists?
Good to
think
go.
so.
It seems like
Yeah.
lots of people signing.
Adidas doesn't have a group yet, do they?
Well.
Dude, we decided they have like 3,
Yeah.
The
But-
Gold Coast one.
They got the San Diego, but
and Atlanta now. So
Oh, that's
and
right.
Tin-Man.
And
So
Tin-Man.
all right,
And
that's
Tin.
yeah.
Yeah, there's been a lot of moving around, a lot of shifting.
Pretty much like at the end of the day, like it's pretty sweet that there's just so much opportunity right now, and there's so much depth
It's a
right
big
now.
difference in 2020.
Yeah, like there's a lot
2020
of
there was nothing. Now it seems like everyone's getting deals and opportunities.
everyone's
which is
getting back on it. The economy is thriving, I think.
No,
don't know.
I think inflation is at like record highs.
Yeah.
Like
So-
our money's worth nothing.
so
Like,
we're all-
we're getting paid half what we were getting paid
it's
last
all
year.
it's all gonna
We're pretty
explode.
fucked.
Yeah, it's all gonna come crashing down. But for now, let's just ride it out, I guess. Let the good times roll.
Yeah, let's do it.
But yeah, I think that's about it on teams. Anything else happened big this year?
In the sport?
Just in
F1
general?
was crazy.
Yeah.
We're world champions in the cricket. T20.
T20.
Go
No,
Australia.
not real ones.
Go Australia.
Oh, you're saying it's not real now because New Zealand lost. All right,
Yeah.
just be a good sport, George.
Yeah.
I would say also big for the sport. I just think.
Sibco saying he wants to drive to survive.
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
After we said that we should have a
seriously.
drive to
The
survive.
funniest thing about that was I did mention on that pod literally a week ago that like
What?
if I could pick any person to run with, it would be Sebco, and then they had him on the pod a week
Oh
ago.
yeah,
Really?
true.
Yeah.
That's sweet.
If
That is
Sebco
interesting.
is saying that, it's a good sign, but saying it and then doing it are two completely different things.
Yeah.
Also,
Kenny
Sibco
Cooper
is saying
now.
that he would like to see cross country in the Winter Olympics,
So cool.
which would be very cool.
Yeah.
We also that means we could compete in Winter and Summer Olympics.
That'd be,
which would
you-
be very
that would be
unusual.
freaking like what that,
It'd be
that.
perfect.
Surely that can't be that difficult
No.
to get by
Not at all.
the I don't know who runs the Winter Olympics.
No,
IOC probably still.
Yeah, I could just pay that guy. Just bribe
Yeah,
whoever's
yeah,
in charge.
Sebco can just bribe him.
Yeah, that'll be.
I think World Athletics already has no money though.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. But we're referring to Sebco's interview with Citrus Mag if you want to check
Yeah.
that out. But
God, citrus
yeah,
reminds me of a good refreshing taste.
but
A refreshing zesty drink.
A zesty drink of Mountain Dew.
yeah. So that's kind of our year review. I guess we can wrap it up by just
Well,
saying
the Coffee Club
Coffee
started
Club.
this year.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's how I was gonna wrap it up. We're only 3 months old, but it's been a lovely 3 months so far, and so.
I've had
Yeah.
a great time. We hope you all have as well.
Yeah, thank you mostly to all the people out there because we've just been so lucky to have like a great reception and a beautiful little community starting out, and you guys have been so good to us, and it's just makes it really fun and enjoyable to do this every week and just keep it going.
Definitely.
And that's our
We got some
goal.
big plans for 2022.
Yeah. Keep
Yeah.
Oh,
updated.
there'll be another 52 episodes.
Yeah, and if you, I guess only the true fans like listen this far to the pod, so I guess
Yeah,
I guess-
true.
I guess we can give some secrets away because I wasn't sure if we should announce this yet, but I think pretty soon after this comes out, we'll start selling a little bag of coffee beans
Yes, we will.
And I think we're going to have 100 of them, and it's going to be limited to 100. So be on the lookout for that.
Yeah.
We'll
we
give
went
a lot
through
more
a stringent tasting process.
Yeah, we're really excited
couple weeks
for this.
ago.
It's been really fun.
We
This.
brought in the founder of the Coffee Club, Mr. Jason Ross, for the final verdict.
Yep.
And you'll see that.
Chosen the beans.
We'll share that.
They're delicious.
Yeah, we'll give you guys obviously way more details on this,
Yeah.
but we're working with like a small roaster from Madison to do this. So it's just been like really fun, like going through the process of getting it going, but we don't know what the fuck we're doing. So hopefully we'll have a website and stuff to sell it soon. But yeah, I mean, that's 2021 done.
What do you guys? Okay,
2021 over
we'll
and
wrap
out.
it up quick, but like, what's one thing you'd like to see in 2022? Personal, OAC, world, whatever you want. What's one thing you'd like to see in 2022?
I'd like Coffee Club to go #1 running podcast.
It's a good answer, George.
Citrus Mag, you hear that?
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's a tough question. That
That
is.
is really
I
tough.
kinda
You
feel
really
that.
just threw that on me.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, I don't know.
You can just
like
say Coffee Club #1 as well.
OAC #1.
OAC
Yeah,
#1.
that's a good one.
That's
I would
awesome.
love, and I don't know if this would ever happen, but I'd love it if we got to the point where On would like to develop clothing with us.
With the
No,
Coffee
Coffee
Club?
Club.
Yeah, and
That'd be exciting.
we could start a limited kind of merch thing, maybe like
Yeah.
some sweaters, some dad.
We do have. Well, we have plans for that anyway.
Yeah.
Because On don't necessarily make those products.
On don't, but if On was interested in kind of like, you know, being part of it, that'd be pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
I guess.
It would be.
Anyway, that's it.
It's fun having our own little project as well.
Yeah,
Yeah. All right.
controlling our own shit.
Yeah. Well, thank you again for everyone for being with us for 2021 for the first 3 months of Coffee Club and for listening to this episode. We'll see you next year. We'll see you
in
next year.
2022.
See you in 2022.